When you were coming up in your music career, like how far along were you in your spiritual life?
Man, I guess my like deep spiritual, well, I think it's been with me since I was very young. And just
Hello there, it's Dr. Robert Ciprian with another Conversations about Transformation. Here again today with Vita. I always appreciate
Hi.
talking with Vita, and we just kind of get deep and deep on things. And today we have Trey Hardson, also known as SlimKid Trey. And man, I'm just so excited to sit here and talk with this man about his view on, first of all, where he got to in life, how he did that, and his view about other people's lives, about what he really thinks could help them to transform, to really, access their dreams in life. So, Vita, thank you for being here and everything.
Thank
And
you for
yeah,
having me here.
doing a couple of these already, been really good, and we're gonna keep going. We're gonna start doing some other things here too. And Trey, welcome here with us. I
thank
really
you.
appreciate you taking some time out of your day for us.
Yo, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, Vita. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Trey, what do you label yourself as?
Um, First and foremost, just a person, a
Uh-huh.
good person, human being. Like in the music world, MC and a DJ, and a dad, and also in the regular world, meditation instructor, kind of, healing practices, what have you. That's kind of my line of work.
And that's something, what before I really knew you, and I really did get to know you, found out you're so much into like meditation and even, energy medicine, all this other stuff. I'm just like, whoa, that blows me away that you're also spent a good part of your life working on that stuff and how you actually use that to kind of get where you are today.
Man, that is me taking the time to actually go to Clearsight, which was a place that I got trained for energetic medicine. That was a good beginning of my life because I was always like trying to meditate and like kind of dig around spirituality. I'm always big on my spirituality kick and everything, but to go to Clearsight and to actually learn the tools to work with people, like even if it's like distant healing stuff and all of that, like just to learn the tools of how to do that and walking meditations, that was all just brilliant to me. And also, working with Gall back in the day, with my tarot stuff and just like a lot of other um tools added to it. And I think I learned Kabbalah with him as well. And so like just like looking at all those different tools helped me to understand that it's you, as you grow, you get this toolbox of yours, to carry with you to help others that that may need your expertise in such a way, and you never know which angle you might need it from, you know what I mean? So it's like kind of a lot of different parts. But when I sit down with a client to do a reading with them, man, like I can pull from so many different parts, you know what I mean, to tune in and to hone into where they're at energetically, and where they're going physically, you know what I mean? Like it's insane, and I really like I love it all.
So you must pull a lot on your life experiences to help with your clients too, I imagine, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It takes experiences to like, cuz you don't want to jump in a situation with somebody and you don't really know. You never walked in their shoes. You never lived that life, you know what I mean? So it's good for me to be open to all walks of life, just to, find some type of understanding. Or I know some, if it didn't happen to me, I know someone that it has happened to, that, I can pull from that to help guide someone else.
Exactly. Me too. I've been through so much in life but yet, you know, I haven't experienced everything. Like I even talked to my friend Vita, who's much younger than me, but she's like had experiences that I've never had. I'm like, what, really? Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
she's come here from another country and lived a whole different life than me and everything. So it's totally different. It really, you know, each one of us just has like our own set of uniqueness that we could bring forward to help the world.
Yeah, I have a question about the clear site. What is exactly? Is it like a school or
Yeah,
mediated
clear.
center? What's that?
Well, Clearsight was a place that I went to years ago to learn energetic medicine, and they also have a clairvoyance course too. And for what I took, energetic medicine, we would go every like a every weekend of every month for I think about a year or so,
Mm,
or more. And the clairvoyance was another class that went like there was this class and then there was another class, you know, and I wanted to do the clairvoyance thing, and if they're still around, that would be good, something good to check out because
I've heard
I learned
about.
so much from it.
Yeah, I just never heard. Have you heard, Robert, about it?
No, but I know there's a lot of good schools out there, but that's one I have not heard of.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I
This
was in the
one,
other classes with Trey and Gal Sassan's classes, and after me and Trey met, I kind of rewound in my mind. I'm like, wow, I think we were in those classes together in LA back. It was the same time.
right? Dang, nigga. Oh man, how crazy is that? And Gall is really thorough and he's pretty straightforward too. You know what I mean? It's like I like teachers that kind of cut through all of the thick of things just to kind of like in a grounded way.
Yeah,
You know, if you can remember, like, you know, Gall was like a very grounded teacher. Like I really appreciate it, you
he
know.
gets right to it. He's just like
He
boom,
gets
boom.
right to it, you know what I mean? It's like it doesn't get too frou-frou and, you know, cosmic purpley. It doesn't get that way. It's just like straight. And I like that kind of teaching. And I teach that kind of way too. You know what I mean? Like very straightforward because you want to kind of I don't want people to like drift off into like dreaming of things. I want them to be here on this planet, feet to the ground, understanding what's going on, so we can get you standing up and walking. Otherwise, you're gonna just continue to dream on and never you know, like hundreds and thousands of dollars later, you know, like I'm the type of teacher, like I want to get you up and going. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
want to get you in such a good way. You don't have to come back to me because you know what I mean? Unless you really, really need to. And I think that's the way that even my godparents have taught me as well, you know.
When you were coming up in your music career, like how far along were you in your spiritual life?
Man, I guess my like deep spiritual well, I think it's been with me since I was very young. And you know, just dealing like when you're in it as a child, there was things that I could see. Like I would tell my mom, you know, Mom, don't do this because that'll happen. And she was like, Boy, what are you talking about? Ain't nothing gonna happen. And then something happened. And I was like, See, Mom, I told you. You know what I mean? So I would have, you know, as a young kid, like all of that going on, you know, um, all of that going on. But I would say like consciously understanding like the, you know, like this is a spiritual path that I'm on had to be during my Saturn return when I was like
Ah,
27. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And I have to mention Saturn returns because those are the hard points of your life where you're gonna be. It's like you got to graduate from it. You got to graduate from it if you want to continue to be on this planet because the spiritual weight is heavy. It's real
yeah.
heavy. It's a lot of work you got to do and you might not want to do or whatever, but it's right there on you. And you just got to chisel away at the parts. It's like this big slab of stone. And by the time you finish chiseling away at it, you've created, you know, like you're beautiful pretty
Mhm.
much. You know, you've carved this character and in good ways, you know, hopefully. You know, not everybody survives their Saturn return, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I always been interested in that age. It's like
Ah,
everybody you ask, everybody has changed in 27, but
yeah.
they don't like they don't know about, a lot of people still don't know about Saturn return. And I would like,
Yeah.
so was it in like 27? I'm like, okay, I'm not surprised, you know.
Right. Yeah. It's like 27 to like 33 kind of
So
deal. It's like a
yeah,
little, you know, like this little
five
area of
years.
time. Yeah. Something. And you get another one. They keep, it's not, that's so that would be your first cycle, your
Yeah.
Saturn return cycle. And then you get up to where I'm at now. 50 is another Saturn return cycle, I believe. It has to
Like
be,
what? This all
you
like
know,
49, 50, right?
shit, probably right now. In my case, probably like 49, 50, because I'm like looking at every 25 years, 25 to 27 years, you know what I mean, is another um area of real growth, you know. And it's
Mm-hmm.
and life does not look the same as it did when you're looking back at those years. Complete different person,
Of
complete
course.
different things that you want in life if you care about it. You know what I mean? So it's real important. And I think what I've taken from it is to try to be more understanding, more open, because everybody's not like me. Everybody's not going to walk the same walks, you know, and they're going through their lessons. Even like, so like there's times where like, dang, I don't understand why this person might not know or understand, you know, like you're trying to get each other and you don't get each other. You keep butting heads because you're just at different levels. You're just at different levels. And it's not like they're bad at their level and you're better at your level. You know what I mean? They are just different levels.
Yeah.
And you will have the aha moment where it's just like, you know, growing into another level. You'll have an aha moment. It's like, oh, so that's what that was back there. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And being a wise person, you'll look at the person that you're clashing with at a different level, and you're like, okay, well, they'll get it when they get it. And then when they have their aha moment, they come around and like, yo, man, I remember you said this, and I
Mm-hmm.
apologize, whatever. You know what I mean? Because I'm always trying to like guide people to the good space. You know what I mean? And it's like they'll get there when they get there, you know, if they get there. And that's about that's about it, man. You know?
Yeah, as I was talking to my friend, and you know, we've been also like meditating, doing like different ceremonies, like, you know,
Mm.
becoming a better version of ourselves. And then there's moments in life happens where we can't handle our emotions, you know, we can't react properly, and we like, damn,
Yeah.
like I thought I'll handle better, like there. And then we laughed about it, saying like, yeah, we can meditate like, you know, like hundreds of hours and be
Mm.
like isolated from the, you know, the real life. But the real practice is when you apply all your meditation
Yeah.
skills, you know, in
Absolutely.
real
Absolutely.
life. That's how you understand where you are.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sometimes things feel like a storm emotionally, you know what I mean? Like, and it hits you. You know, it's like emotions are like rain. You're gonna get wet. You know what I mean? What kind of, is it a drizzle? Is it a storm? Like, but you have like emotions are just those crazy things and those crazy rides. And I definitely try to get grounded because I just know better. I know better all the time, but I still cannot escape getting wet from the emotional waves that hit me, you know. But at
Yeah.
least I do know, at least you do know, you know what I mean. And it seems like lots of work sometimes, like I feel like I never know when a full moon is happening until I feel like, dang, why am I like, I'm like spinning out of control right now. And then
Mhm.
I'll look up and the moon is a full moon. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so when I see that full moon, I'm like, let me get my shit together right now because I know it's a full moon and that's going to amplify whatever I'm feeling times 1,000. So let me get myself under control. Like if I was like you just like mad at some, or like just mad at somebody for like, you guys are just going at it, and you look at the sky and it's a full moon. It's like, okay, I need to calm down. I need to get grounded. You're very conscious of what you're doing and how you're doing it. You know what I mean? So
It's literally spotlighting you, the full moon. It's like, bam.
yeah, it's like, here the full moon is up now. You're gonna create or amplify whatever you're thinking right now times 1,000. So I'm just like, okay, what am I thinking? Let me get my stuff together so I'm not thinking the wrong things, because I'm not trying to create as a creator. You know what I mean? It's amazing how we're all creators with like a delay. You know what I'm saying? It's like the things that, and I'm glad sometimes that delay is there, and we're not at the like a fourth dimensional instant.
Like boom.
When it's instant, can you imagine?
You
Like
create
our
that
our
monster and
things,
back, you're just like that.
right?
Like, ah.
Like right there, right now. Like,
Yeah.
I hate you. I wish this, blah 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 blah. And then it's like boom. It's like, oh well, I really didn't mean that, but it, like so I got to get a hold of my head. You know what I mean? So I'm making sure that I'm creating the right things as a creator,
Yeah.
as a creator, you know. And emotions are what create. Like emotions are, wow,
Yeah.
emotions.
And you're always creating. So do you want to create what you're kind of want to, or you're just going to create by default with all that negative stuff going on? Because you can't stop creating. You're always creating.
I feel like emotions are that wave that actually starts the creating process. There's the
Yeah.
thought, there's a thought, and you think about it. Then there's the field, and you feel in it, and then there's the manifestation, like the hard copy. Bam. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
emotions are that magic, man. That's why they call them vibes. So what are your vibes? Are they good vibes? No, are they bad vibes? You know
Good
what I
vibe.
mean? You will definitely right, good vibes. Let us sail to good vibes. You're just like, you know.
Yeah.
uh,
But
uh-huh.
go
Keep
ahead,
going.
Lisa.
What? Me?
Go ahead, Lisa. Yeah.
No, I wanted to ask that, Trey, you said that you've been meditating all your life. So what is that, coming from your family, or what's the background of it?
Oh, yeah, let me get to that part. So my meditation parts, because I didn't really know how to meditate at all. And you'd always see it, and sometimes you would like be like, what is that? And then, there was a time, well, in my 27 area, in my Saturn return times, where did a lot of, mushrooms and stuff like that. I'm just have to put it out there. That's what it was. Little
Uh,
lot of mushrooms, will help you fast forward into your spirituality. And so that's kind of what happened. And one day I was just sitting in my own living room on the floor, crisscross applesauce, looking at my plants, and my plants just started kind of vibrating and talking to me, really. And I understood, like, even to this day, like, I know when my plants need water, because it's just I can feel them, you know and that's just, we're so busy in our human life, that and our busy, we're in the city, or we're trying to be this person, or trying to be that profession or this profession, and all the things are super fast, that we're not slowing down to hear, like, your plants say, I need water. And it's just something simple. And I
Yeah.
remember I used to go on tour, and when I come back home, I wouldn't even walk in my house fully. I'd stand in the doorway, and I'd look around and feel what the energy was, and I look at my plants and see how, if they were, springy and healthy or not. And my plants let me know what type of vibe that they were in, as well as what I was in too. So I would, like, kind of started reading that energy, you know what I mean? And I know that, from the meditation and getting grounded, um, was helping me to communicate on a lot of different levels. So that was like the first start of me, being still. And that's meditation to me means being still. And that was one level of it from the mushrooms. The other level was I went to, like, used to go to hypnotherapy. And I remember, the doctor, like, you know, put me into this, meditative state. And where I was just like an inner, just like this pink energy. And it wasn't like a body anymore. It was just like this pink energy, or more of a, not pink, but violet, I'd say. And the only thing that I could do is, like, kind of rub my face up against this pink energy. But I didn't really have no face, and I didn't really have no body, and so, like, just kind of like dwelling in that little space, I thought about a lot of things. And when I came back, he was like, how do you feel? And I just started crying. I was like, man, I feel like, the message that I got at that point was, why do you hold on to this world the way that you do? And I just started crying, because I understood on all levels of what that was. You know what I mean? And you like really, like think about it for yourself. What does that mean to you? You know what I mean? Like, why do I hold on to the things that I hold on to? Are they necessary? I'm I'm doing too much or whatever, but it didn't allow me to be me. It didn't allow me, you know what I'm saying? By holding on to all of these different titles and different things. So that was that level of it. And then so the other um part of my meditation that let me know like meditation was for me is I was in my hotel room in New Orleans, and it's like real active time. Everybody was having fun and stuff like that. And me, I was just like, okay, cool. Like, let me just go in my room. Just wasn't feeling it. I just wasn't feeling it being out and about. So I was like, let me try to meditate
Mm.
consciously. And I was like, all right. So I sat down and I was, started doing the breathing, the things that I saw of how they did it or whatever. And I started breathing and I was sitting straight up and, and then I, I my thoughts were like, my phone is about to ring, or did I leave the water on, and all these things. And as just as those things were like saying something to me, I would say, "Be still." And I kept saying, "Be still." Next thing you know, I was like, "All right, well, this is getting uncomfortable." And so I was like really trying to sit there in a sit in an upright state, and I just couldn't. I was like, I gotta lay down to finish this meditation. So I laid down and I kept thinking that my phone was going to ring, and I was like, just as soon as one thought said, "Your phone's about to ring," this thought said, "Be still," and the "be stills" took over everything. And next thing I know is 3 hours later of having a like just a restful meditation when I was just laid there, and that was the beginning of breaking through the barrier of you thinking you can't
Mm.
sit there quietly. And as I laid there, there was a lot of thoughts that kind of kept, floating by. And you have to treat those thoughts like little bad kids. You look at them, you see what they want, and you figure out what their issue is, and then you handle it and you move it to the side. So I went through so many different things till there was nothing in my mind. And that's how I got to 3 hours meditating that day, and I felt incredible when I got back up. And so from that point over time, I started, and then going to Clearsight thereafter. um they had taught me how to meditate as well, how to get yourself grounded first and foremost, how to take yourself kind of like out into the meditation. In the same way as you take yourself out from the meditation, you bring yourself steps back into your body. And so bringing myself back into my body, then you feel like kind of like this, you feel real pure. I can't even it's almost like you were doing yoga or something.
Yeah.
So that was that meditative journey, and that's from all parts of why I am the way I am right now. I can fall into meditation like right now and just be in the full state of it, like uninterrupted by no thoughts, nothing whatsoever. Just I know how to get there. Boom, I'm there, and I'm getting that. Like once you get into that silent space, is when your body is able to re-energize. You know, and then come back. I'm ready to go. And I would definitely meditate before shows, do it like a quick 15 if I had to, or a quick 45. But my band knows, when I'm gonna go meditate, guys. So that's it. All right, Trey's gonna be down for 45 minutes. And when he comes back, like I can get no rest at all. But I had to claim my meditation time because that gives me the energy to do these shows. And that happens so much on tour because there's literally no time. You're always on the go. So I have to claim my meditation time, whether it's on the plane or whether we just got to the room and we're on our way to sound check. I got to sit down and get my meditation first, and then I can go do it, because that was kind of like cheating sleep a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't really get no rest, but I got to meditate to get that rest.
Yeah, for a couple years, I did this thing. I only got about 4 hours sleep at night, and I'd wake up at 4 a.m. and I would just meditate, go for a walk in the woods, come back home. But I did that for a year and a half, and I felt totally rested every day because meditation's like that supercharged kind of sleep vibe. It's like you're laser
Yeah.
focused into it. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not even tired. And I did that for a year and a half. It was really, really good for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So what about you, Vita?
Amazing. Uh, well, I'm trying, like, I do not have right now this like a time of meditation, just like when I sit, and I actually should get it back to my routine. But I try to be in meditative state, like during during the day. And Robert and I,
Oh,
we
yeah, yeah, yeah.
discussed that, and I was saying that I don't listen music at home. So, everything I do, I concentrated on that moment. Like I'm washing dishes, I'm very present with everything I do.
Mm, right,
So
right.
that's how my meditation routine is now.
That's a great one to have. That is a great one to have because sometimes it's like we don't have time, but you making time as you go.
Yeah, I mean, and I had moments where I would, like, do meditation every day, where I would sit, like, meditate here or there. But then I understood, what, the best practice is actually applied to the daily life.
Yeah,
So that's
absolutely.
mm-hmm, that's where I am.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Like I do the same thing when I'm washing dishes or when I'm grilling, I'm barbecuing. Like I have to because it's kind of like you taking your mind away from everything around you and just kind of get into a zen mode of washing the dishes and just sometimes when I'm cleaning the dishes I'm like thinking clean out these negative parts of my life, make them clean like this dish. You know what I mean? Like it's things that you do or taking a shower, like let the water like kind of wash away all of the debris or whatever and let it fall,
Yeah,
all the way down into the sink, you know, or into the drain and let it go and let it be washed away. And this is just conscious magic, pretty much.
And when I was a kid, before I got into all the spirituality, when I was, doing my graffiti and stuff like that,
Yeah,
I would be out painting a wall and I would lose myself in the wall. And I didn't
yeah,
really practice meditation yet, but I would be painting for hours and like the day would go by and I'd be like, I haven't eaten anything, drinking anything. I just been sitting here painting.
wow,
Like I got lost in it. And I kind of first realized like that's really going into that meditative state.
yeah,
And then later I learned that when I'm doing my healing work with people, it's the same thing. I get lost in the people and like
yep,
8 hour day will go by and I like just saw like 20 something people and I just like, whoa, okay, like I feel great. I was just in that space all day and I was able to like laser focus on what everybody needed because I was like in this different space for it all.
yeah, yeah. Robert, it sounds like you fall into accessing that spirit, that alignment of spiritual flow. Because
Yeah.
like when you're talking about art, like anything that we're connecting with, like on that level, and we can't recognize that we're hungry or thirsty or whatever, the spirit energy is giving you that almost like that water,
Yeah.
because when you're in it, you're in it, and you're allowing. It's kind of like martial arts.
Yeah.
You're just in that. You're just in the flow, and that's a beautiful place to be. You know what I mean? Like, because we are all like trying to like dip into that current, that I would say like that spirit liquid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like from the art, like when you were describing your art, I can just see like that spirit energy just flowing through your hands when you're just like kind of describe it, and that spirit.
Mhm.
So like to like that's beyond meditation to me. You know what I mean? And just like I'll just listen to the things that you're saying. That spirit, and that's kind of like what meditation is trying to. Well, in my sense, and how I think of it is trying to get connected to that spiritual outlet.
Because to me, meditation is kind of like the education, but the real life is where you apply it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's like, because what you really want to do, you want to be able to be in that state when you're out in the world and something's going down. You want to be like, all right, let me be calm, let me focus, let me
Yeah,
know exactly what I need
calm
to
and
do
zen.
here. Yeah, you want to be able to just step into that space. And, I really feel the meditation is just the training for that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very good space. Yeah, man. Both of you, like, you got your you've got your niche. You found your thing. You know what I mean? To get you there, and like what to me, like how I look at it, it's all about being open enough to get to that cosmic flow. And Vita, you said it how you did it in a natural, like just as you go kind of deal, which is it's not still, but it is in flow. You're allowing that to flow through you, so that that is still a good thing as far as I'm concerned. Everybody has their different view of how meditation
Yeah,
is, or should be, or teachers have their way or whatever. And whatever way just works is fine with me,
Mhm.
as long as you can get access to that alignment and that spiritual, that spiritual water, so to speak. You know what I mean? That's what it is to me. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Despite what other teachers may say.
yeah. It's like it says like I went to one retreat, and they were saying like there's one truth, but the paths are many. So
Yes.
there's not one thing how
Yeah.
to get to this point, how to get to this point in life. Everybody has their own, but the information we got, so we kind of learn from there, and then we sum up for ourselves to
Yeah.
choose the best way for us.
Exactly. Exactly. Isn't that like what they call it, like the kung fu? The one thing that you're in the Zen mode about, and one thing that you're in focus on is like a kung fu. Is that right, Robert?
I'm not sure of the breakdown of exactly what it means, but it sounds like it to me. I mean, it sounds like that's really the objective of it,
Yeah.
the whole no mind, just being that flow.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Yep. Because that's exactly what Bruce Lee was talking about as well with
yeah,
Jeet Kune Do.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to fill yourself with new things, just try to empty yourself.
Empty yourself. Exactly.
Yeah, and trying like different forms of meditation too. It's like, I've been meditating for 20 something years. And then I work with Sasha Cobra, and I'm sitting
Yeah.
there and she's having me focus more on my body as I'm meditating. And my
Right.
mind was going nuts. My mind's like, oh, get
Mhm.
up and get a drink of water. Oh, check your phone, like you were saying. Oh, get a bite to eat. And I'm like,
Yep.
whoa, like I never had like those blocks come up my face before because I was meditating differently. There was a whole nother wall I didn't even
Right.
see. So I'm like, because of that, because of how much resistance I had, I'm like, I got to work with her more. And I did. And I blew through a lot of that stuff. It was just like, I looked at those problems as like, oh, wow, yeah, I got to go there because there's so many blocks. I got to dive into this.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome. I think I had a similar experience with like this tantra class where they were just telling us to focus on our body, just feel your feet, just feel the ground. And it's just those simple little things like you don't think about all the time because we're always in our head, just our head is like, you know, doing all these things, but to be in your body is a whole different, it's a whole different thing. And that those were super positives about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Similar to exactly what you're saying, you know?
So something I want to ask you is, how'd you really gravitate towards your career? What really lured you in? What showed you like this is the way to go?
As far as music is concerned, or as far as
Yeah.
like healing work.
Well,
Well,
well, well,
music,
well but maybe both of them. Let's go
um,
step by step.
so in high school, when I graduated from high school, my major when I went to college, my major was psychology, my minor was electronics. And I was kind of you know going through school, wanted to be a fighter pilot at the time or whatever. And I was just doing that, but I was also like kind of in the dance scene. And I also like kind of wrote songs for friends, like wrote a bunch of poetry and things like that. And my friend Robert Tillis, also known as the Rhythm, he we went to school together, and he was like, we would always write music and I would write songs for him or whatever. And he had taken me over to visit to meet his girlfriend's brother, which is Jay Swift, who was the producer of our record. So like I was always either dance battling or writing, and I sang in the choir with my mom when I was young. You know what I mean? So it's kind of always been with me. I would, and also like listening to all my mom's records and my grandma and grandpa's records all day. Like my babysitter was the turntable. You know what I mean? It was like listening to the music, and yeah, it was kind of like a latchkey kid kind of deal. I played the trumpet when I was in the fourth grade. I played, like started learning how to play the drums when I was young as well. So the music, all those components were, even though like they're kind of fragmented, they were always there and they were always me. So I just kind of like stepping more into what you see today by, I would do choreography for um, Jay Swift's sisters group, which is called Jazzy Fat Nasties, that are out with the root or on the roots. A lot of the songs that you heard with the roots, with the girls are singing in the background, that's the Jazzy Fat Nasty crew. And I would like do choreography with for them, or I would write songs, songs for like girls to sing all the time, because like it was like during this like little R&B stage or whatever, and I was like really good at writing those, love songs and stuff coming up. So when we were at SCU, which was a place that our band would go to with Jay Swift to work with Reggie Andrews, who was our manager at the time, who was also a part of the Daz band, and he executive produced, some stuff for Rick James and Patrice Rushen and all that stuff. So we were always in like this musical circle of things. In junior high school, I was in actually in choir class. So like all these things just like really kind of started to come together, you know. And when I was in college, I had to pay my own way to community college and stuff like that. And at the same time I was going to college is when things started popping off for us dance wise, like because that's how we ate and that's how I would be able to pay for anything. So um, my teacher at the time, she I was only supposed to I wasn't supposed to miss more than 6 days in school, and I missed 6 days exactly. And she told me, she kind of kicked me out of the class and was like, you have to go petition to get back into my class. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I can't petition to get, like, I got good grades. I got, I'm a B student, whatever, And so it kind of messed with my head, and I kind of dropped out after she told me that I had to go petition to get back in her class. And I was like, that's really insane. You can see a guy really working hard to do this and carrying himself or whatever. So I quit, and then I tried to do school again the next year, and it just kind of fell short, and I just never continued. And I just put all of my energy into what we were doing as the Pharcyde, and that during that time was 2 for 2. And so from there, danced on In Living Color, and just did a bunch of music videos and stuff like that, and really put all of my focus into the Pharcyde stuff. And we got signed with Delicious Vinyl, and that was all she wrote. So like I was kind of always walking into all the parts of, like, my psychology part fell into the music part, because the songs that I sing are helpful to those that can relate, or to this day I'm helping others, like I was always good at that, I mean, counseling folks and friends, or other aspiring artists. So that tool, all these things that never changed, and it's all been things that it's almost like coloring by numbers, you know what I mean? Just walking into present time. The electronics that was my minor, I utilized that, being, whether it was music, like an engineer, engineering my work, or like just putting together wires all the time, or knowing what I'm doing on the sound stage and things like that. So I was always just doing what I was supposed to do,
Yeah.
and just
I
walking
like it.
into, you know what I'm saying? Just walking into to um to who I am right now.
Right now.
So
Yeah.
I guess I've always been on the right path.
That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy? But I wasn't conscious of it until later.
Yeah, but you had all the connections, you had everything set up. It was like just this mosaic you kept putting together as you were going, right?
It was exactly a mosaic, bro. Right? It
Yeah.
was exactly a mosaic. And I guess sometimes some parts of me wants to get all the gray parts in between the mosaic chips all to vanish and it become one beautiful, clear picture, you know? I guess that part has been my life journey. But just accepting the mosaic as it is a beautiful thing too. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be perfect as I talk to myself. You know?
There is no perfect.
There's no perfect.
Yeah.
There's no perfect and I'm happy. I'm happy
Yeah.
about that, you know?
Yeah. I want to do the reading with you. So I want
All
to
right.
give
Uh,
you.
All right.
How long have you been doing the readings for, Trey?
Ooh, I guess I've been doing the readings for as long as I've been doing Clear Sight years ago. So some years now, man. Cause
Okay.
it, you know, it and working with Gall too, like because working with the tarot cards and stuff like that kind of helped me to it's really it helped my readings a whole lot. I don't really necessarily have to use cards anymore. And then also I'm a priest of Lukumi, you know, which is, you know, I work with the Orishas and stuff like that. So that's always on my side as well. And working with my ancestors is extremely helpful to my reading. So sometimes I just kind of whenever I reach for my cards in any capacity, it just fine tunes what I'm already saying,
Hmm.
you know? Because then, like when I look at the cards, I was like, oh yeah, and here's this and this symbol. Like it could be like the symbol of, one of the astrological signs, and like will help you tune in and just tune in and just tune in and tune in. It's the symbolisms, like symbolism, all that stuff is helpful too, and that's why it's good to have a bigger toolbox.
Yeah.
Like man, everything that you guys are doing right now that's every little bit is helpful, and you might not know what this tool may be that you have today. And then like 5 years from now it's like, oh, I already have that,
Yeah.
that tool from blah blah blah. And so, but I currently I lean on my Orishas like 1,000% because man, when I can step into a situation where I'm not clear headed at all,
Yeah.
and I just sit myself down, and sometimes I sit myself down and I listen and feel, and they will get me on point
Okay.
with
Can you
with
explain what your Orishas are, like who they are?
so my Orishas are, it's I'm a part of an Afro-Cuban religion called Lukumi, and my Orishas are basically like saints, like saints would be. Um, there's like the goddess of or goddess of the river, or goddess of the ocean, or like you can look at it like Thor, like the you know what I'm saying, like the god of thunder, and like I feel like how I can explain this is like the Hindus have, you know, the spirits that they work with, you know what I mean, and the Vikings had, Odin and the spirits that they worked with, and I have Alegua and Yamaya and Oshun and Chango. Those are the spirits that I work with, and I feel like, and so like Catholics might have like Saint Peter or Jesus, or Saint Lazarus. That is the best way for me to explain, um, where people can relate to it,
Hmm.
because the same way that a person would wholeheartedly go to a Catholic church and pray to whatever saint to bring, prosperity or whatever, is the same way I openly walk to the ocean and just freely open up and pray and talk, or to the river, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
to get my answers and things like that. And you know, to me, sometimes I'm like, it's not me, it's the Orishas, and that's like a big thing, because without them, I wouldn't, you know, be half of. I wouldn't be. It's a different thing. And then there's just so many ways of things. You know what I mean? But my Orishas are my strength. My godparents are my strength, and my ancestors. And people don't think about their own ancestors, for
Yep.
Christ's sake. You know what I mean? They just and if they just did think about their ancestors, or if they just did tune into their ancestors, their help has always been there. I don't think we're here alone, man. I never thought we were here alone. I never thought we were here alone.
We're in that soup of spirit, man. Like it's just a thick soup of spirit. Yeah.
Yeah, so like even as a child, I always thought that there was just something more. Like I would just do things like I would just do things like spiritually, like I intuitively, like I'm gonna write this name here and I'm gonna put it here and I'm gonna do that and do that. And that's without me even being aware of any of this. Like I came into this like later on in my later years. But when I was younger, like I was on point, but I didn't know why. I was just like a free flowing kid. I was a wild kid. You know what I mean? I was like Mowgli, a Jungle Book. You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
kids
But
know, you know. Uh,
yeah, kids know. Kids
yeah,
know.
I also was all my childhood. I felt something, but I was so scared. Nobody could
Yeah,
explain it. And then, my parents would say, "No, like there's nothing." It's just.
yeah,
So I kind of started blocking it, I guess.
yeah. And I think it's because we all lost that rhythm. You know, and we either ashamed of the things that we see, hear, and feel. Like um they might think it's silly or stupid or whatever, but kids are always on. That's why they just roam free. You know what I mean? And they, like my little son, he'll tell me stuff and do things, and I do exactly the same thing that my mother did to me. And now as I say this to you all, I'm going to be a better listener of what he has to say. Like he does have an opinion. We sit and we have mature conversations, and he's 3.
Mm.
We have mature conversations and open conversations, and just as I'm talking to him about what things are, I listen to him as well. You know, because we're all magic together. You know what I mean? And I feel like it takes it, as parents and aunts and uncles and all of that, we've forgotten parts, and we need to like kind of get back to that cosmic blanket or that cosmic tapestry that included all of us, so we know how to maneuver through all of this world. You know what I mean? It doesn't really have to be as complicated as it is, but we definitely make it more complicated than it should be, for sure. um if you're not dancing with life, then you're wrestling. You're wrestling it, and you don't want to do that. You want to dance with it, you know what I mean? Because that's where your true color is, and without judging any parts of it, you know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, I mean, you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, children, so many times I've had parents come to my office for some healing. I go, my back hurts, this hurts, that hurts. And I'm like, well, why do you think? And like, I don't know, just, something happens. And the little kid will be like, blah, 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 everything going on in their life. The kid knows exactly why their parents got their issue going on. And I'm just
Yeah,
like, thank you. Okay.
right. And usually we'll turn to them like, boy, I'm having an adult conversation, can you just mind your business or whatever?
Not
And
me.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, I talk to the child like an adult, and a,
right.
a parent always asks me, "How'd you get my kid to stop eating cookies?" I'm like, "Well, I explained to him why it's not good for him,"
Yeah,
and she's just like, apparently blown away because I just don't say because I said so. I said, "Well,
yeah,
if you don't want to have the toothache anymore, if you don't want to have the headache anymore, the cookies exacerbating that, like stop
yeah,
eating it." Like, oh, okay, yeah,
yeah. I think as parents too, we're so like connected to all the dangers. We're connected more to the dangers of the world than we are to the flow and the beauty of the world. You know
hmm
what I mean? Because we're all, man, if being a parent is like living with anxiety, like 100% of the time, all day long. You know what I mean? Because man, it's just we've been blessed with this beautiful creature, these beautiful creatures that to share life with us, and we want to keep them safe through understanding the trials and tribulations we went through. And it
yeah,
doesn't mean that it's going to happen to them. As parents, we project our fears onto them, which is just, we can't help it, I'm gonna say that. But it's utterly insane, you know what I
just
mean?
more meditation, right?
If yeah, Sometimes I wish meditation could help. I just really need to just kind of like, well, just be mindful of I do that. So
Uh,
now it's like I cannot. That's not a good thing to project my fears onto them. They're dancing their dance. I'm dancing mine. You know what I mean? We just love
yeah, yeah.
them. We just love
Uh,
them with all our heart.
Love is everything.
Huh? You say what?
Love is everything.
Yeah, man, definitely.
all right, Trey, so how can people get in touch with you for a reading?
People can get in touch with me for reading at SlimKid3 TRE at Gmail for all professional business. Don't be coming at me with no BS. Yeah, if you wanna book a reading, SlimKid3 TRE at gmail.com. And we can get it moving, man.
Vita's gonna try it out. I did mine already. I was just like, man,
That's
you
right.
just like Trey point me in one direction, like pretty much just talked the whole time about that's where you got to go, Robert. I'm like, okay, wow, I got it. Yeah, so thank you for that, definitely.
Yo,
Great.
Robert, thank you for sure. Vita, I can't wait to put you on my calendar over here and we get something started for you. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
So yeah, and definitely, if you got folks or friends that need readings, I'm open to do it. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. Thank you so much for
Okay.
some of your time today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you both for your time. All
Thank
right. This was
you.
awesome. All right. I appreciate everything.